So there's quite a bit of Fallout 76 news that has popped up over the past couple of days, that being what is probably the conclusion, or hopefully the conclusion to Baggate, and then a ton of information on banning and perma-banning, and actually Bethesda's stance on mods. Yes, there are mods for Fallout 76 right now, at least for PC users, although they're very rudimentary. I made a full video on one of the coolest ones out right now if you want to check that out. So the first story is going to be Bethesda's stance on mods. This was actually updated a few days ago now, but it was only really brought to my attention in the past day or two. And basically on Bethesda's support website, they actually have a bunch of articles on various things like glitches or crashes and what to do in response to those. They actually have an article about the canvas bag situation, but that one's how to get your 500 free atomic points. But either way, one such article that actually popped up on 11/28/2018 is going to be, can I use mods or other third-party programs with Fallout 76? And the response being, Fallout 76 does not support the use of mods, add-ons, or other third-party programs. Please be aware that the use of such applications may result in Fallout 76 not functioning properly. So I personally find this to be a pretty interesting response due to the fact that they don't actually give an answer to the question they themselves pose. They say Fallout 76 doesn't support mods, but do they mean Bethesda doesn't support mods in the sense that you can't use them, or that there's no official mod support? Because we all know there's no official mod support. I mean, based off reading this, it definitely seems like they're leaning to the no side, at least right now, because with a lot of these third-party applications, they're allowing you to do things that maybe weren't intended from the start. It's almost like this is an answer to a question that isn't even posed here. Now, realistically, unless Bethesda starts incorporating some mod detection software, unless you are outright broadcasting to the world that you are using mods or doing something along those lines, I don't think they're gonna know you're doing it anyway. So for now, it seems like it might be okay. Obviously, they're not explicitly saying no here, they're just saying they're not supported. So I guess they're somewhat allowed. But speaking of banning, a number of users in Fallout 76 recently got permabanned. You might have heard about this story, it happened a couple of days ago, but a bunch of people wanted to know my opinions on it. If you're not aware, basically one user had a bunch of other users actually following him around and using homophobic remarks. This was seemingly due to whatever he was wearing in game at one point or something along those lines. The person on the receiving end of this did record it, post it onto Twitter, and it got quite a bit of attention. That's probably how Bethesda found it, and a bunch of news websites have picked it up since Bethesda's eventual banning of all of those players. Specifically, after this got posted, Eurogamer contacted the guy that was getting harassed in this situation and did kind of a mini interview with him. He gave a little bit more context, and I'll have a link to that article down below if you're interested, but one real good highlight, a gem from that, he actually said that he was contacted by a few Bethesda community managers after posting the video on Twitter. They told him to actually go to Bethesda's website and report these players through their form. On that form, to submit it, you actually need to attach a video, and basically, out of the supported file types, none of them were a video. So you needed to attach a video to submit the form, but the form didn't allow you to attach a video. It just feels very relevant with all the other stuff going on right now. In the end, basically, he contacted Bethesda directly, and they got banned for 3 days. Bethesda investigated more, and they got banned permanently. So I would say the takeaway from this is just be careful what you say in this game. Obviously, with a lot of these other online games, stuff like this is fairly par for the course. I don't think it's a shocker to anyone that online gamers are toxic, but this was just one dude that recorded it, posted it on Twitter. So if you are somebody that does this very same thing could happen to you just by like me recording you and posting you on Twitter. Just something to keep in the back of your head while playing Fallout 76. I don't really want to give my opinions on the story because I feel like it's a lose-lose situation if I do. But what about players getting banned? Well, actually a couple of days ago, a few people messaged me about a Reddit thread trying to get me banned. So in one video I showed using an exploit, I since then edited out that video because I realized that using that exploit caused server instability and crashing. I wasn't aware of that when I filmed it, so then I was like, well, obviously my goal isn't to make servers crash. Well, either way, somebody saw that video, posted on Reddit that I had done this, and that they had contacted Bethesda support, basically having video evidence of me using and advertising an exploit. He contacted the German support because he is German, but otherwise the response is fairly interesting. I understand your frustration, very good. Please keep in mind that we are not able to discuss our investigation with you as well as the results of them. I understand that it's frustrating to get the same answer. I assume maybe he had some other kind of discourse with them and he got the same answer of nothing before, but you can rely on the fact that cheaters are not getting any tolerance from us. So I don't know if that's maybe a translation error. I personally think there's a pretty fine line between exploiting and cheating. Those typically are very different things, and even what is required of you is very different. Actually, putting the sentence into Google Translate, it says fraudsters are not tolerated by us. But if the German side of Bethesda actually views exploiting as cheating, that could be a big problem for people that are using exploits. Either way, since then, I've actually stopped using this. Some people are saying, oh, I'm still using it, it's in my new footage. That's just old footage that was recorded a while ago. I used some old unused footage in newer videos rather than just recording random footage for the background. This was posted almost a week ago, and at this point I haven't been banned. That could be a result of the backlog they do have, but based on that, it definitely seems like people who use exploits could get banned. It definitely seems like the possibility is there. It's my understanding that those people actually watched my clip of me using the exploit, and if they're calling me a fraudster or a cheater, however you want to translate it, based off that, it doesn't look too good. If I got banned, I got banned. It's honestly not that big of a deal. I could see how I could deserve it based off what I showed off, but I figured this was another good thing to highlight. If you're using exploits in this game, be conscious of the effect it's having on the game, but also on your account. It seems very plausible that using exploits could get banned. I wouldn't be shocked though if they're not doing waves of bans right now, because that would be some negative press probably. Banning exploiters is always a kind of gray area, since an exploit by its definition is something that you technically can do in the game. You're not using a third-party program or anything like that, where cheating is normally using some kind of third-party application. So I'll keep you guys posted if I eventually do end up getting banned or how long it is, if not permanent. But either way, for the final topic, another one that's a couple days old now, but I didn't really feel a need to talk about it in isolation. This related to Baggate and how Bethesda switched out canvas bags for nylon bags in Fallout 76's Power Armor Edition. A number of news outlets and things like that actually picked up the story that people invited to the Greenbrier event were actually given canvas bags. This is mine, I still do have it. On Twitter, Maddie actually also showed that they gave out a very similar bag at QuakeCon earlier this year. And then people were freaking out that, oh, they couldn't give canvas bags to people who ordered the Power Armor Edition, but they could give it to influencers at the event. To which I would say, yeah, I mean, that's what it seems like. I really don't think that's acceptable. You have one party who paid for the game and another party who is getting flown out for free just to play the game and I guess in some way advertise for it. Although with this, I feel like there was a lot of misinformation that I want to clear up. What Bethesda did in this scenario is wrong, but I feel like people are kind of blowing it out of proportion. There was this Twitter post which was basically saying that as a result of getting invited to this event, influencers were being more positive about Fallout 76, as if me getting a canvas bag really swayed my opinion on the game. To which I would say, if you go look at most people invited to that event, it's pretty negative. I mean, you watching right now, you probably watch other Fallout YouTubers. Would you say they're really positive about the game? I don't think so. In that same post, he does say that a ton of influencers were invited. That simply isn't true. A ton of media was invited. I would actually say influencers like YouTubers or people that are streamers were actually in the minority at that event, and I don't think they were bought either considering the Fallout 76 review scores. And even beyond that, a bunch of people are arguing that Bethesda ran out of material to make the bags for the Power Armor Edition as a result of giving the bags to influencers. Which, no, canvas isn't some rare material, it's not like they ran out. It seems like though this controversy has largely ran its course. The only way I could really see it popping up again is if that lawsuit does begin to go forward. But otherwise, we're going to wrap it up for the Fallout part of this video. Moving on, I do want to share today's psychology fun fact of the day. That's going to be on your interpretation of the world and the role that media and others actually play in that, especially your own in-group. There's a lot of research in the area of media effects in psychology. Almost all of us consume media of some form, whether it be the news, TV shows, video games, whatever, even just YouTube videos like this one. There are a couple of effects or outcomes as a result of this. First and foremost, one of the big ones, your view of the world is largely going to be shaped by media, specifically the news in this instance. Even though we really like to believe that all of us are objective and can think for ourselves, the simple reality is what the media reports on or doesn't report on does have a pretty big role on what we actually think, what we perceive the world as. There's a couple of things that go along with this. One such one is the availability heuristic. I've talked about this on the channel in the past, but basically things that more easily come to mind are things that we think tend to occur more often. Many people attribute this and the media to why many overestimate how much violence there is in society or in the world. Even though violent crime statistics are way down since the 90s, most people wouldn't actually think that. They think there'd be more violence. This theory suggests that the media typically covers violence. We are negatively focused people in general, so we tend to pay more attention to dramatic and violent things. Thus, the media does that because we watch them longer and more often. But since we are watching that more often and that's what they're reporting on, then it's more in our brain, so we think it occurs more more often, hence the availability heuristic. That's just one example of this, but there's been many studies actually just asking people, hey, how often do you think this thing occurs compared to this other thing? And for many of those, you can actually predict what people will get wrong based on what the media tends to cover. This is actually furthered through groups, and specifically your in-group through group polarization. Basically, this is the idea that let's say you're in a group of your friends and all of you have similar ideas and opinions. That tends to be one of the characteristics of friends or in-groups. There's a phenomenon where basically you hearing the ideas and opinions of all of your friends will actually make your own opinion feel more extreme or be more extreme. I've talked about this somewhat on the channel, but it's pretty relevant to this other aspect. Like, let's say you don't like Fallout 76 and you talk to other people that don't like Fallout 76. You will then have more arguments to why Fallout 76 is a bad game, and you tend to have a more extreme view. You will think Fallout 76 is worse than you did initially. That comes together with the other points where if you're all getting your information from the media and then all talking about it and getting a more extreme view, you can kind of see how it would follow that very extreme views are developed. Either way though, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this one. As always, again, I thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, but with that, I hope to see you all next time. Later.